Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Chit Chat Podcast. My name is Guy Magno. I am your host. Thanks so much for joining us on our little adventure here. Our goal is to have conversations with people in our community that are doing unique and fun things, and more importantly, they just care about our community. I just got done recording with my friend Emily Bertram. Emily and I talked about marketing in St. Cloud and our business community and some of the things that make this community special, which is the goal of all of these podcasts. So we're so thankful that you're here with us, that you're listening. We appreciate it a lot, and keep listening. Emily,
Hey.
Thanks for joining us on our little podcast here. Welcome to Chit Chat.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Well, we really appreciate you coming. We are drinking a vanilla latte today, which I've heard is your favorite.
It is the key to my happiness, for sure.
Little cheers.
Oh, are we doing this? Remember?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Very good. Little prost.
Yes.
All right, Emily, welcome. Would you start by just telling us a little bit about yourself? Where do you work? What do you do here in Central Minnesota?
Yeah. So my official title is the Director of Marketing Communications at the St. Cloud Area Chamber of Commerce. I've been in the role for about 2 years now, so loving it. It's a great way to get to know more about the businesses in the community. In my role, I also am the editor of Business Central magazine, so I've gotten to interview business owners that I never would have otherwise interacted with, which is really cool. Work with a lot of great partners on that publication. Prior to that, I was at the city's St. Cloud Convention and Visitors Bureau for 6 years. So doing tourism marketing, event marketing, trying to promote St. Cloud as a great place to visit and spend some time and spend some money, hopefully. And so that's another organization that's under the chamber umbrella, but in a different capacity. So through those roles, and both of them, I've gotten to know a lot about the area. I grew up in Avon, so just right down the road, and grew up coming to St. Cloud for all of our shopping, all of our dining.
So the big city.
Yeah, the big city. It was the place to go and hang out and go to the mall and wander around. So St. Cloud always has kind of felt like somewhat like home to me, and definitely went to St. Cloud State. I've been pretty local.
Yeah.
But
And where do you live now? Are you in St. Cloud or are you out in the country somewhere?
out in the country.
Nice.
We went from one small town to another. We live in Rockville. So
Okay.
yeah, just on the other side of St. Cloud, and
that's
really
great.
convenient. Yeah.
Cool. And when you were at, we say it one more time, the
Convention and Visitors Bureau. Visit Greater St. Cloud,
Okay.
AKA.
Oh, yeah. Great. Were you also in a marketing capacity?
Yeah. I was a social media and marketing manager. I think when I started was technically my role, and when I left, I was marketing manager. So running all facets of marketing there in a lot of different ways.
How did you know that you wanted to work in marketing and communications for your career?
It actually goes back to a high school psychology class.
All right.
Yeah, and you learn the whole like Pavlov's, hierarchy of needs, that kind of thing. Is that what it's called? Where you like respond to certain stimuli. And I was fascinated just by, the psychology of marketing. And so when I went to school at St. Cloud State, I originally started in communications and shifted over to marketing. It's a little more marketable as a degree choice. And so got into it there and kind of went from there. I worked at an ad agency for a couple years and got to experience all facets of marketing that way. And
Can you? Which one did you work for?
I worked for Hatling Flint.
Really?
Shout out to
That's right.
Bill Hatling. Yeah.
That's right.
Yep. I was there for about 2.5 years. And if
Was
you want to
it
learn anything,
right out of college?
Right out of college, I was actually an intern at W3I. If
Okay.
you remember that company. So it was like that we used to monetize desktop apps and mobile apps and that kind of thing. So that was like trial by fire, thrown right into like huge corporate trade shows and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was there for about a year and then got into the ad agency. So
Cool.
yeah, always kind of been in some sort of marketing capacity, marketing role. But
That's great.
yeah.
Cool. And in this current role for the chamber office, what has been something that you have kind of like learned, or maybe that has like kind of caught you off guard about something about marketing or community? What's something you've learned?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it caught me off guard, but it more so like solidified it for me. Just how important communications is, to making sure that an event goes off without a hitch, to making sure that people show up to events. I mean, as the chamber, we have, I would say, just shy of 30 events a month on any given month, and so making sure that you get the communication in front of people in the right way. I've leaned a lot heavier into email than I ever have before in my life. wish that sometimes there was a better way, but it works. It works really well.
Necessary evil.
The necessary evil for sure. But it's also forced us to be creative. And if email isn't how we want to do things, how else can we do it? And what other approach can we take? And so I've had a lot of fun with this role too, trying to bring things to be more creative and try to figure out different ways to reach people too. So yeah.
That's cool. What, like, what's one thing that you're kind of excited about? What's happening at the chamber right now that you think, man, this is really great for our community. This is really great for our chamber here.
Yeah. So it was fall of 22, I believe, that the downtown council came under the St. Cloud Area Chamber umbrella, kind of disbanded and became a chamber arm. And the momentum that downtown has right now is super inspiring because of it. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of big players in the downtown realm who are able to think creatively and try new things and push boundaries with the events they want to host and with the economic development they want to focus on. And so being able to have the chamber name on that is really cool. I think that's super exciting. And it brings together people who have like that common interest of wanting downtown to be successful and a rallying point to bring people who maybe otherwise wouldn't communicate. It brings them together and gives them like that rallying point to be able to grow upon. So that's super exciting, I think. And also 2 years in, I feel like having 1 year under your belt is one thing, but now having 2 years under my belt, I feel like now we can really start to push and be different and try new things and be creative. And some of the things that we've done for years as an organization, we can change and try new things and see what works. So it's an exciting time for sure for the organization.
I think when you take something over like that, there's this sense of how do we, and it's good. Like I think the sentiment is good, but you also have to be careful with it. How do we honor the thing that was? Yeah. And when you're in that first year, you're trying to, rightfully so, you're trying to learn the lay of the land. You're trying to like understand who everybody is and what your kind of role is in it. And then once you kind of have done that, I think then you're kind of able, you've done your time a little bit, and you can start maybe pushing a little bit and see, and man, I think that it could improve in this way. Whereas in that first year, I think it could be really, really challenging and off-putting if some new organization comes in and just starts like drastically cutting and changing. Yep. So
exactly.
I'm sure you have some freedom and little leeway to do stuff that you haven't done before.
Yeah, and fortunately, I mean, so Julie, who is the president of the chamber, was the executive director of Visit St. Cloud when I was over there too. So she kind of like hooked me and brought me to the chamber side. And so fortunately, she's like, let's try it. Whatever it is, let's try it. I mean, you can only fail once, hopefully. So she's very willing to like try new things too, which I think is great. People sometimes maybe don't understand what a chamber is or think of it like, oh, it's only for like really strict business, or it's only for, these very particular 3 things or whatever it might be.
I'd like to welcome those people to a Friday morning chamber connection.
We will flip it on its head for sure. Yeah. Our chamber is super dynamic and active and really fun and full of great people. And so to be able to lean into that from a creative and marketing standpoint is really fun. So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We are in the very final stages, and I can say this now because I think by the time this airs, it will all be done, but we're in the final stages of actually buying a building downtown. And I grew up in Central Minnesota. I actually bought my childhood home from my parents. And so like I'm a kid from Central Minnesota, and I've always loved our downtown. As early as I could drive, from Sartell, getting in my car, and even if I just wanted to sit and read, I was coming to the Meeting Grounds, was a little coffee shop that I just adored. I spent many days every week at the Meeting Grounds. Anyway, and so just as often as I could get downtown, I've just always loved it. And there have been different people in and out of downtown over the years who have like done really good work, and there's so many people that are down there right now just being a part of like helping it grow and do really cool things. And so we're excited to like join that good work of what's happening downtown. So we're excited that we're buying a building, and we're going to have another co-working space downtown, and just kind of have the opportunity to be a part of that great thing that's happened. So
yeah, that's super cool. I mean, I think that St. Cloud but downtowns in particular, there's just like a life like that goes on down there that is different than the larger city at scale. So it's just like you feed off of whether it's the dining scene or the entertainment or the business. It all kind of intertwines, and it's its own beast. So that's really awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, we're really excited about it. it feels like it's maybe like its own little microcosm.
For sure.
You know, like it's
Yeah,
it's like it's its own little city inside of a big city.
I would agree. Yeah.
And yeah, just jumping in and figuring out how we can just kind of join that ecosystem. I mean, similar to, I guess, what, to what you guys what we talked about with you guys kind of taking possession or
Yeah.
leadership of the downtown council. We'll just sit back and we'll just be a part of it in the way that's helpful. And if there's something that some way we can provide value, we want to jump in, but
Yeah, for sure.
it'll great just to kind of be a part of that little
Awesome.
community.
Well, yeah, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there a form? Do I have to sign something to be a part of the downtown?
No, we voted. You're fine.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, sweet. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. I think downtown is really, really special.
It is.
I'm interested to see, like the last, handful of years, it feels like with Mayor Kleiss, it's been such a, such a, like an important piece of his kind of platform and what he's pushing towards.
The historical
Yeah.
passion that he has too, for sure.
I think it'll be interesting to see what what does the next mayor, what do they pick up and run with, and what do they
Yeah.
not, and it'll, I think, an interesting little transitional time.
Yeah.
For a city in general, but also downtown, just with some of the development that's happening.
Exciting to see too. I think there's on the ballot this November potentially is a bonding request for $100 million for downtown. So there's a lot of potential too, just from a city perspective and how to make it, even better than it already
Yeah.
is, and really lean into that and continue that dedication
Yeah.
to downtown. So yeah.
It'll be interesting to see, and excited to just maybe play a small little role
Yeah, for sure.
in that continued growth
Very
and development
cool.
down there. I also love the idea of just like walking from my office to, get coffee and grab a little bite of lunch downtown, and
Yes,
it'll be fun.
absolutely. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, sweet. You and I got to know each other through Chamber.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess for anybody that's listening, I'd recommend joining the Chamber.
Yes.
One of the things that I always tell people is the little tagline for Chamber is Chamber Works. And what I always tell people is like, if you're thinking about joining the Chamber, you have to really plug in. I don't think there's anybody, and I'm sorry, Chamber website, but I don't think there's anybody that sits and thinks to themselves, you know what, I have dollars to spend in our community today, and I'm only gonna spend it with a Chamber member.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that kind of economic.
No, that happens all the time. I don't know what you're talking about.
But I think that people do business with people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's a fantastic way to meet and know a whole bunch of really incredible people
Yeah.
that are like you, growing a business or running an organization in central Minnesota. And so it's a fantastic place to get plugged in and meet people. And so Chamber does work if you show up. I think if you jump in and you kind of like make the most of it, it has been such a fun, vibrant community to be a part of.
Yeah.
And so I would commend anybody to jump in and join Chamber, as long as you're willing to like be a part of that little community.
Yeah.
It's a whole bunch of people with open arms that are just excited for you to join.
Yeah, and I will say too, I mean, as a chamber member, sometimes we have like larger organizations where the employees might not realize that they can come check it out. So even if you aren't a business owner yourself or
Yeah.
aren't somebody who has the authority to make the decision to join the chamber, check and see if your company is a
Already,
chamber member
yeah.
already. It might be, and there's so many different opportunities. I mean, there's the networking side of things, but there's professional development. There's like so many different facets that you can plug into. But like you said, it's just taking that first step and
Yeah.
getting involved and showing up. Yeah.
I love people. I'm kind of an extrovert, and so the crowd and that thing, I kind of love it, and I'm energized by it. And I was, showing up the first day, I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
Like it for sure felt a little bit like I moved to a new town, and this is my first day at school, and will I
Yep.
know anybody? Will people be nice to me? And so even as an extrovert, I for sure felt a little bit of that. And I'm so glad that I pushed through it. And I can imagine if you aren't kind of inclined towards big groups,
Yeah.
that it could be extra intimidating. But I would recommend giving it a shot.
Yeah.
The group is friendly. They're
Yes.
they're business owners that love Central Minnesota, and they're passionate about what they're doing, and they want to share it, and they're excited that other people want to show up and share their thing. And so it's a great place to come and kind of spread your wings a little bit and get to know people in the community.
Yeah, I would agree. I first started coming to Chamber as a representative for for Hatling Flint when I worked there.
Really?
So I used to come, and I was a member of the Next Emerging Leaders, it was called then, and I got to be super involved through my role there. And for me, it was my personal development that I gained through
Yeah.
it, like how it being handed a microphone and having to speak into it in front of 120 people, like, no, thank you, pass. Where now, I mean, through having to do that week after week, or having to, put yourself out there and meet new people. Personally, I've grown so much from
Yeah.
being involved in the chamber, and now I get to work there. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
And you and I kind of got to know each other better through the Chamber Leadership Program,
Yeah.
which we just finished. You're looking at listening to two graduates
Right. Yes.
of the 2024 Chamber Leadership cohort.
Yes.
I mean, you and I have talked a little bit about it, but I just so thoroughly enjoyed the program. What were your thoughts about the program, and
Yeah.
what did you love the most?
Yeah, and I feel like being a chamber employee, like I went into it thinking like I kind of know what this is. Like it'll be fine. I'll learn a little something. It'll be great. And I feel like I came out of it just with such a deeper appreciation for our community, and just there's so many like dynamic things happening on so many different levels in our community in any given day. I mean, so many different people involved in different things and different experiences, and just getting that full like top-down picture of our community was really interesting, because you put yourself in places where you don't normally go. I mean, some of the things we got to do really open your eyes to things that you don't see every day, or that I don't see every day in my career. So I feel like, yeah, it definitely solidified for me just how many different needs there are out there, how many different people there are out there in our community doing different things, and how, I mean, at the end of the day, we all want the same things, and we all are working towards the same things, but yeah, it was so rewarding. And not only that, but the class itself, I think there was 30 of us or so.
Yeah.
Getting to be together for a full day every month, and even being away together overnight one time, was so rewarding too. And we bonded and got really comfortable asking, out of the box questions of each other, and kind of pushing each other out of our comfort zones and being there for each other. So between the cohort itself, coming together, and then everything we learned, it was just a really awesome experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel the same. I
Yeah.
loved it. I didn't exactly know what to expect.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of secrecy that kind of like surrounds the program. You're not really supposed to talk about it a ton, just because you want the people that are jumping into it to kind of have like the fun surprise.
Get the most out of it too.
Get the most out of it.
For sure.
And so like I didn't know a ton about it, and I think calling it like, I think the chamber leadership, I was even maybe confused by the name a teeny bit. Is
Yeah.
it like, are these people that are like aspiring to leadership? Are these people that are already just in leadership roles? The only people that are accepted are, people who are leaders.
Right.
Is this about leaders that are running different businesses and organizations? And it's kind of all of those things, to a certain extent. But I didn't know a ton about it, other than there were people that I loved and respected who just really encouraged me to do it. And I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad. It has been, I think it's been my favorite chamber activity to be
Yeah.
a part of. And there's something about like spending all day for 9
It's a
months.
lot of time. Yeah.
It's a ton of time.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, go the one retreat, the retreat day or couple of days.
Yeah.
That just goes so far into like helping you like really get to know and understand people.
For sure. Yeah.
And there's so many people in that group that I would never cross paths with. Like
Exactly.
our little like spheres, they do not touch at all. And I like really know them well. And so that has been so fun.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful to have dove in the way that,
Yeah.
that I did and we did.
Yeah, same here. I would highly, highly recommend it to anybody who, even if you, like you said, like you don't really know what to expect, that's the best part about it. I feel like just coming into it with zero expectations and an open mind to
Yeah.
try to get the most that you can out of it is the best way to approach it, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, sweet. I'm glad that, and like, I think you were one of maybe just a few people that I like knew
Yeah.
beforehand. And so it was fun having a couple of like friendly and familiar faces in the group.
Right. Little security.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
then having just a whole bunch of people that I didn't know
Yeah.
proved to be an absolute blast.
I think that's what's really fun about it too, is like you kind of, if you go to Chamber Connection regularly, or if you go to like our regular monthly meetings with some regularity, you kind of see the same people, give
Yeah.
or take here and there. But this one, like people come out of the woodwork for
Yeah.
it because they've had a mentor refer them to it, or they've had a boss tell them to go through it, or whatever it might be. So that is really cool. Yeah. There's the different types of people that come out for it. Yeah.
Another area that you and I have crossed paths is I've started to shoot a little bit for the magazine, and you have been writing for the magazine. What's it like to kind of work on those projects? You had mentioned earlier just that you get to, you get to engage with business owners and get to kind of see places that you wouldn't normally get to see. Like, what else have you loved kind of about your time? Are you the editor-in-chief? What's your title?
Editor, yes,
Editor?
I am. I make all of the calls. I pick all the stories. So running a magazine is never anything that I thought would be on my resume one day. I love to write. I've always been a writer. It's always been a passion of mine, but like SEO blogs for the marketing people more than like actual journalism and writing. And through this process, I've learned so much and gained such a respect for the editorial process. The magazine was started, I believe it was in 2000 it was started. And so it's every other month, and there's been so many people who have been on the cover or have been interviewed throughout the years. Like anybody who's ever been anybody huge in St. Cloud has been involved in the magazine somehow, I feel like. And so to be able to continue on that legacy is really fun. But as far as like, the process of it goes, definitely getting to see behind the curtain at some of these really cool businesses. I mean, one example that you guys helped shoot the cover for was Vernig Manufacturing. And it was so awesome to see this family-owned company that is huge. I mean, it's huge, and what they're doing there is incredible. And they are just like the most humble, sweet, kind people, super smart and super driven, but very like, soft-spoken and humble. And to see that when you just see what Vernig is and this big manufacturing company, you have an idea, and then to see the face behind it is such a cool experience. And then be able to tell their story is even more rewarding. So it's been so awesome and such a great way to like get my foot in the door to places that I wouldn't I wouldn't normally ever be able to talk to or be with. Yeah.
Who gets to go and tour giant manufacturing facilities? Like unless you have an in
unless
like
I'm gonna
that.
write a cover story about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
been
so
awesome.
fun. And they were incredible.
Yeah.
I was blown away with, I mean, this might sound silly, but how much they clearly enjoyed each other. Like they liked and loved each other. At one point, we were setting up lights, and the two of them were giggling.
Yeah.
Just like, sweet married couple who, they probably married, I know their kids a little bit, so they were probably married for pushing 40 years,
Yeah.
And the two of them just like standing there giggling. They weren't on their phones, like doing emails. Like they were just talking to each other. It was really, really cool that they clearly still enjoy each other.
Yeah.
And they've been married for such a long time. And I've like run a business together for this. I don't know. There was just something that was like kind of palpable and special about that.
And again, like speaks to that element of just how many different people there are in the area, right? I mean, everybody has a story, and it's super fun to be able to tell it from small scale stories to the big cover stories. I mean, it's really rewarding to be able to get to bring those stories to light. It's been really fun.
So this is Katie Vernig.
Yeah.
And who was on a couple weeks ago. It's her in-laws.
Yeah.
The Vernigs are her in-laws, and her husband, Brian. I've known them for a long time.
That's super cool. Yeah.
Kind of fun that she was on the podcast.
That
too.
is cool. Yeah.
Yep. All right. What's one of the things that you love about our community? What makes Central Minnesota the great place that it is?
Having been here pretty much my whole life, all my life, definitely my whole life, there's just something about the St. Cloud area that. You say it and it sounds cliche, but it's a big town with that small town mentality. And it's, I mean, a good thing and a bad thing sometimes. I mean, change is hard, so our community has a hard time with change sometimes. But on the flip side, I see our community still having that small town mentality of coming together in times of need and being able to support each other, whether it's on a business level or a personal level. I still think that there's that element of I got your back, you're my neighbor, we're in this together. I think that's super cool. I also love where we're situated just geographically. Central Minnesota is a really awesome place to be because you're close to the north, all the fun outdoor adventures up north, you're close to the cities. So I think just being where we are, we have a real advantage to being positioned to be successful in a number of ways. And I have never left here. I love it here. My family's here, so that helps. And so I have no desire to leave here. But there's just something special about the community that I think, despite its challenges, St. Cloud does a really good job of still being a great community-focused community. Yeah. Yeah.
I did leave. I wasn't like trying to escape St. Cloud, but I went to college in the cities.
Yeah.
And there was something that just is like kind of enthralling about being in the cities. I love, like I just said, but I love a crowd. And so like a big city is kind of like being in a crowd, being in, a big group of people all the time. You can't escape it.
Yeah.
And so for a guy like me, like that was so energizing. I loved getting on my little scooter. I had a silly little Yamaha scooter,
Nice.
49cc, so I didn't actually have to have a motorcycle license.
There you go.
And I explored every inch when I was when I was a freshman in college. I explored every inch of the metro, and I just fell in love with it. And I thought, I'll never leave here. And it wasn't because I didn't think that because I thought St. Cloud was bad and I want to get away from my home and my parents or anything like that. It's just this big giant thing, just kind of like I got caught up in kind of the grandeur of all that. And then Cassie and I got married. We started like talking about having kids, and it was just like this insatiable thing of like, we need to get home. And there was a neat work opportunity for me to get back, and we've never looked back. And I can't imagine leaving Central Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's been such a sweet place to raise a family, and having kids grow up in my hometown is like extra fun. And yeah, I'm thankful that St. Cloud continues to grow. And like you said, in spite of our challenges, but every single community has challenges.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it feels like people like maybe dog on St. Cloud.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand, because literally every community I've ever been in, the things that get kind of hurled at Central Minnesota, like those exact things and others are true in every community.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I love the example of, so when I worked for the Convention and Visitors Bureau, we hosted the Midwest Travel Bloggers Conference in 2022. And we had 50 different travel bloggers and writers from around the Midwest come here and for a conference. And then obviously while they're here, they're doing their blogging. So it was really like an awesome event to have here. But afterwards, and during it, we were like asking them their opinions of St. Cloud, just kind of like feeling them out. Like, what do you think? And granted, they're not going to sit here and talk crap about St. Cloud to our faces, but even afterwards, not a single bad piece of press, not a single bad opinion. They were here and they loved it. And from an outsider coming in and having that experience, I just wish locals could maybe put on that lens for a little while, even more so, because to them, it was like, this is a beautiful community. You guys have so much going on here.
Yeah.
They came and they got to go to Summertime by George, and they were like mind blown. They were like, you do this every week. And the downtown area, they were like, everything is within walking distance. There's like 30 bars and restaurants here. And so just from their perspective as an outsider, like they loved St. Cloud. And so I wish that sometimes that the locals could put those glasses on a little bit.
I think it's interesting that you say that about Summertime by George. It feels like the kind of event that like you would be lucky as a community to get that once a year.
Yeah.
And like even the turnout that shows up every single Wednesday, every single Wednesday in the summer, like a community would be absolutely stoked if they could figure out how to do that once every summer. And we had to take it for granted. Oh yeah, every single Wednesday night downtown is going to be full of people and free. Yeah. It's a really special, really remarkable thing. Yeah. And the group that puts it on and created it, just normal Central Minnesota people that had a vision and a passion for something cool. And I think that's one of the things that I love about our community is like, it's made up of doers. Like there are so many people that are like, there's a hole in the community. There's a need that's right there. And we're just going to figure it out. Yeah. We're going to raise a little bit of money, or we're going to figure out how to do it for cheap. And we're just going to go and do that.
Make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of I think kind of like a industrious, hardworking, maybe it's a little bit of that like that farm community thing of like,
I could see that. Yeah.
You got to show up and do work. Like there's no one that's going to milk the cows for you. Like we have to show up and do that. You want to make
something happen, you got to do it. Yeah.
I think that's in, some of our DNA as a culture and a community.
I agree. Yeah.
We are by far, we are the beneficiaries of that kind of work ethic. And I think that's pretty exciting.
I agree. Yeah. Very cool. And just a lot of those people are like you said, like business owners also. So they're doing this in their free time, or maybe they're retired business owners or whatever it might be. So they're really putting themselves out there to provide for the community. It's pretty awesome.
The number of non-retired retirees in our community is very high.
Yes, it is.
I know so many of them are like, 60 hours a week, huh? Okay. Yeah.
Sounds relaxing.
Yeah. And I kind of hope, that's me too. Someday whenever it's time to retire, I hope I can stay investing and stay plugging in.
For sure, yeah.
Sweet. All right. this is one of my favorite little parts, kind of as we're getting ready to close here. Unpaid advertisement. Is there something that you think, that deserves a little plug? And what would it be?
So for the last, this will be like definitely a shameless plug. For the last like 7-ish years, I've been on the board of directors for the Guardians of Conservation. So it is.
Oh, do tell.
It is the nonprofit arm of Hemker Park and Zoo in Freeport, Minnesota. So as a nonprofit, we raise money for endangered species, both locally and around the world. And just this is more about just Hemkers in general. I don't know if you're familiar with Hemker Park and Zoo.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible family-run operation. It was started by a husband and wife team.
Last name Hemker?
Yes,
Yep.
last name Hemker, and started as kind of like a wild bird place, and then his name is Mark. Passed away a few years in, and his wife continued it. Her and her son and 2 of her daughters just kind of like, nope, we're going to keep this going. And in his legacy have created like this incredible place to learn. All they want to do is give back to the animal community at large. I mean, both locally by raising endangered species there, but they also have a 300-acre preserve down in Texas where they breed endangered species.
Wow.
And they give a lot of money to causes all over the world, supporting like rhino conservation and that kind of thing. So that is my unpaid advertisement. They are an incredible family, and it is so fun if you have kids or you are a kid like me and you want to feed a giraffe. It is like the best place to go spend like a Sunday afternoon with people who are born and raised here. Like they're very much like they could either be dairy farmers or zoo owners, and you're not quite sure. They're like the most nice, humble, down-to-earth people. And so highly recommend checking it out with your kids or by yourself, or just supporting their cause. Yeah.
Cool. So remind me, what's the name of the conservation group?
The Guardians of Conservation.
All right.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And then they have Hemker Zoo as a part of underneath their
They're
umbrella.
like the nonprofit arm of the zoo. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And how long have you been on the board?
I think it's been 7 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've done events throughout the year. We do like a brew at the zoo event. We have a gala every year. So
When is the gala?
it's in February. It's
All right.
Valentine's Day. Usually it's a great date night. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, fun. I'll have to check it out.
Put it on
I
your
mean, I am a dad of 2 kiddos.
Yeah.
And so we have, of course, visited
Yeah.
the Hemker Zoo, but wonderful to hear. I'm so glad they're doing really good work, and I'll have to check out the gala. I think that'd be kind of a treat.
Yeah.
My unpaid advertisement, hear me out. It's for skim coating. Okay. I didn't really know much about skim coating, but we are deep in a kitchen remodel right now. And the ceiling in my kitchen had a little bit of water damage. Remember how I said I bought my childhood home?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, upstairs in the shower, I stood with my feet over the drain. Like I covered the drain, which is in the center of the shower, because I thought it was cool how the water like filled up the basin of the tub and it went over.
Oh, super cool.
Because I was a kid and
Yeah.
an idiot. And I thought it was, I didn't realize, but that this water was seeping down to the kitchen. And then my dad is yelling, he's like, there's water. Oh, and so I realized that it was me. Anyway, so there was
full
this
circle.
water damage on the ceiling, but I've purchased this house now and we're deep in the renovation of this. And I thought I was either gonna have to put like wainscoting, I was gonna have to like cover it in some capacity, or far worse, that we were gonna have to pull down all of the plaster and sheetrock and put something new up. And we had a guy come, Matt Spoden, so maybe this is for him, who is an incredible painter and a magician with a trowel
Oh, sure. Yeah.
and and the skim coating compound, whatever that is. I don't know because I can't do it myself. But it looks like we have a brand new ceiling, and it's just a thin layer
Wow.
of skim coating. So hypothetically, if you got something that you need covered, skim coating.
The more you know.
Yeah.
I need to look into skim coating. I don't have that problem, but it sounds like a great
Here's the deal:
solution.
you couldn't. I would almost recommend like creating the problem.
Yeah.
Like give your kids something to throw at the ceiling, like little like marbles or golf balls
Sure,
or something.
yeah. I could
So
get
they-
rid of my popcorn that way too, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Like I mean, this is nearly the same process. I think
Sure.
you should do it.
I'm sold.
It transforms a space.
Nice.
I'm eager. We're probably 2 weeks away from having the kitchen done.
Home stretch.
So it's extra challenging when you're living in the construction project.
Yes.
But we're so close.
Very exciting.
Yep. Well, Emily Bertram, Birdie, as some people like to call you. Thank you,
Yeah.
one person. Not birdie like a bird, but
Yeah.
Bert-y, like
Bertie.
Bertram.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming and joining us on the Chit Chat podcast. It was wonderful to talk about St. Cloud and just marketing. It's been fun to be a part of the magazine, being able to shoot for the magazine and seeing all of the incredible things that you are doing to help communicate the message of the chamber, why it's important, and how kind of businesses are grown and changed there. So thanks for being my friend and for being on the podcast today. We sure appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, and thank you for loving St. Cloud like we do.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful day.
You too.